Thank you so much. That's very nice of all of you. And I strongly suggest please have a notebook and a pen next to you, because I'll be sharing the screen. I'm not going to use a PPT. I will be writing down certain points and explaining through notes. So when you study, it will really be useful if you actually make a note of the things that I'm going to write down. So that will really help you in your exams, because you'll get in short all the material and all the descriptions of different terms which are being used. So if you don't have a pen and a notebook, I request you to kindly grab it and come back and sit in your place.
Ma'am, you can start now. I think most they'll join in between. Mr. Khan, Mr. Nirmal, others who are the co-hosts, please enter the learners during the meeting. I'm going off the meeting.
Hello. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just share my screen. So I hope my screen is visible to you all. Is my screen visible to all of you? The page that I am showing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's well
So,
visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's visible,
okay.
ma'am.
Yes, it's visible,
It
ma'am.
is visible.
Okay. So I'll be starting with the concept of business environment. And as I said, I'll also be writing down certain points which will really help you understand all the concepts. And since this is the first class, I'll try to go a little slow, that you all don't face any problem anywhere in understanding what we are trying to do. So, first of all, we should start with the concept of environment. That is very important. And if you see the initial first chapter, which is there, or first unit, which is there, it talks about the business environment as such. So, what do we exactly mean by environment? Generally, whenever we talk about environment, we are talking about the sum total of all living, sum total of all living and non-living elements and their effects. So when we try to study their effects, sorry, so you'll see that whenever we are trying to understand environment in the economic sense, we are trying to find out how the impact is of everything on everything else. So like for example, we stay in a society, so naturally everything that we do will have an impact on each other. So we are not, we say we are individuals and we are staying together, saying individually I can manage alone, but that does not happen. Whether we talk about the place of work or everything else, you will find that we are influenced to a large extent by the environment. And this influence is not only where we take business, we consider so many elements of business which are very, very important and need to be studied. So, next, we actually, before we come to the main thing, we need to know what we mean by the business environment. So, when we talk about environment, we, as I mentioned, we talk about all the elements, okay, living and non-living elements. But when we talk about business environment, we talk about the sum total of all internal and external factors such as employers, employees, government, social, political influences. Means, if you consider, we will come to all the factors one by one, but if you see as a whole, it's a very complicated process because there are so many small elements which we are including whenever we are talking about the business environment. So, general environment is everything which is living, non-living, but definitely when we are talking about business environment, we are not talking so much of non-living things. We are generally talking about people, political situations, economic situations, different monetary policies, fiscal policies, and I will be talking in details about all these small concepts which are there. So basically, an environment comes under a macro concept. And whenever we talk about the firm, we are generally more concerned about the micro concept. So let me just go back to these two terms that we are going to talk about. The first is macro concept and the second is micro concept. Now, when we start with economics, we always start with the micro concept. What is the micro concept? It means generally we say this is the worm's eye view of anything. That means if you see the area which is available for a worm to look around or study or see is very, very small. Probably if the worm is crawling around, he can see just maybe two blades of grass or something, not more than that. So the area is very, very limited. Whereas when we talk about the macro concept, we talk about the bird's eye view. So if you see, when the bird is flying in the sky, the area which is available to him to see or to analyze is one whole. So micro concepts are always individualistic in nature, whereas the environment concepts will be as a whole, means all the firms together, all the nations together, regions together, or in a city, all the firms which are there in that particular area, all these things are taken together, then only we talk about the concept of macro. And environment is generally macro, because we are taking the whole area, the complete whole is being studied, where a firm will only be a small sector which we are studying. I hope everybody is able to follow me. Can I get a thumbs up or something so that I know you are able to follow me till this point? Okay,
Yes, ma.
thank you. So there are certain important features of environment that we talk about, and I'll explain all these small words, because I know all of you must have heard the words. It's not the words; it's how we interpret it when we are talking about economics or business environment. So the terminology or the words might seem general, but their meanings are very specific when we talk about specific subjects as such. Okay. So the basic thing, the first important thing, as I told you, is that environment is a macro concept, whereas firm is a micro concept. The second important thing that we talk about is the dynamic and the static environment. Okay. So when we talk about the dynamic environment, we talk about the changes which take place very rapidly. Now, one sector where we talk about very rapid technology or rapid changes is technology. So you'll find on an average the technological advancement is very fast. You buy one iPhone, the next day iPhone comes up with a updated new version. So you find that changes over here are taking place very fast. So this is a dynamic environment. Whereas if you talk about a static environment, you'll see, if you talk of the culture of your country or the festivals of your country, you'll find these are static concepts, and these are things that we do not want to change. Okay, who wants to change how you celebrate a particular festival, or the way we dress up for a particular festival is something that we would like to have in the same manner. In fact, even if we talk about the food that we eat during a particular festival, you'll find that nobody wants these changes to take place. We want to continue doing the same things because we enjoy those kind of things. So this is where we talk about the static environment. The static environment is equally important. People feel that dynamic environment is important, but static environment is also equally important, as a lot of things, and I'll give you examples later down. We'll find lot of industries could not survive because they could not adjust to the culture and the static environment of another country. So this becomes a very important thing, and a lot of things will depend on it. Yes, I have a hand raised. Is there any question or anything? uh, I find one person raising his hand. Is there any question? Okay.
No,
So,
madam. Good question.
okay. So
It's
I
okay.
come to the
Go
point.
ahead. It's okay.
Yes, please tell me.
No, I was saying you can go ahead. Yeah, yeah, getting.
Okay, your voice is not very clear, so it's okay. Any questions later or now also, if you have, you please put it in the chat box. You can just type it out. I will see it and I will respond to the questions. Okay, I think that's better than unmuting and going back. So it's better if any questions that you have, you can just type it, or any problem that you're facing, you can just type it. Okay. The third important thing that we talk about over here is we talk about that it varies from country to country. So we do not have the same kind of environment everywhere. So we are not saying that what is happening in your country will be identical to what we find in India. Okay, there can be a big cultural difference, a big difference in how people will act or dress up or eat or everything. And though we talk about things like a global village and all, still we find that these differences are what make us unique, or you know that is the speciality of the world. So if all of us become same and identical, and actually there's no difference, the world will not be so beautiful, I think. Because of these differences, we really enjoy each other's cultures, and we tend to meet each other. So we find that this varies from country to country. But again, it is important, if you want to work anywhere in the world, you should know that how the culture of another country is different from ours. Okay, if you go with the mindset of what is happening in my country, and I believe the same thing is okay in another country, it is not. Customs will be very different, the ways of thinking will be very different. So it is very important to learn the business environment if we want to function in different areas of the world. Okay, the fourth point is that it differs not only over space, but also over time within a country. So what we are talking about is the temporal patterns. Okay, this is called as temporal patterns. That means over time, if you just talk to your parents or grandparents, and the culture of your country, or how things were done in their era, and how it was done in your grandparents' time, you'll find that it has changed majorly over a certain period of time. There will be a lot of differences which happen in the environment, and we have to upgrade ourselves accordingly. Naturally, if you talk about a culture which is maybe 30 years back, you'll find that people would not have used so much of technology. Okay, like if I give you the example of India, 30 years back, you didn't have the mobile phones, you hardly had laptops, you could not even think that we would be able to do some digital transfers, or give send money all over the world. These concepts were just not a possibility. Nobody could even imagine that all this will happen in the next 30 years, but it has happened. So there is a lot of evolution which takes place. So not only does the environment differ from country to country or place to place, it also differs over time. So we have to study the patterns of changes which will take place over time also. Okay, then we have now, why this is very important is that future patterns will depend on present and past patterns. So if you want to if you want to work with another country, you'll find that, suppose there has been a history of disharmony. People have not been very close together. There's so many countries where political unrest is there, or the country has attacked the other country. You'll find that if you want to do trade dealings over there, you'll find it very difficult to do, because the business environment is not very conducive to having agreements or matching up with each other. So you face a problem, because what has happened in the past will have an impact on what is going on now and what will happen in future. So you can't just immediately change and say, oh, it doesn't matter, it happened in the past. Because as a country, when you are interacting with another country, you will find a lot of challenges if the relations between the countries has not been good. On the other hand side, if the relations have been positive and there is mutual respect between countries, you'd find that naturally the countries will be more favorable for trade, will be better in associating with each other, and will be able to give each other a lot of positive things. So that's why the present and the past really affects how the future of business environment will be. Okay, then we come to the next point. Once again, I'll just change the page. I hope you were able to note down this. uh, I hope everybody has been able to write this down along with me. Can I get a small response? Then I'll continue. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I jotting it down.
Okay.
Yes, ma, we are judging. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So next we come to the concept of, whenever we talk about environment, we are talking about different things. For example, you talk about economic and non-economic environment. Okay. So we talk about economic and non-economic environment or activities. Okay, so what happens over here is, first let me talk about economic and non-economic activities, because this is very, very important. Generally, when we talk about environment, we are not much concerned about non-economic activities, because you are not involving any kind of money transfers. And how do you understand non-economic activities? Simply, like for example, at your own house, if you are washing your clothes and you are doing the dishes, it is a non-economic activity because you are not getting paid for it. But if a maid or a help is coming over to your house and doing all this work, you are paying the person, so it becomes an economic activity. So anything where there is exchange of money, you will call that as a economic activity, and anywhere where there is no exchange of money will be a non-economic activity. So generally, when we talk about business environment, we are more concerned about the economic activities rather than the non-economic activities. Okay. Going along with this, we say that the economic environment and non and non-economic environment. So when we talk about the non-economic environment, we talk about the government policies. Okay, so you have the government policies, you have monetary fiscal policies, you have the tax system, the everything that is related, the business, the transactions, everything will come under economic environment. And when we talk about non-economic environment, we talk about the culture, the educational system. So you're talking about culture, education, uh, you know also legal environment, very important. A social environment means what kind of social relationships are there, political environment. So all this will come under non-economic environment. Whereas in the economic environment, you can just write down, if you want, economic systems. Now, economic systems also, I will just explain to you a little bit. What are economic systems? Basically, under economic systems, we talk about socialism, mixed economy, then capitalism. So all these will come under the economic systems, and this really impacts your environment. Where do you have freedom to work? Where do you have freedom to open your own enterprise, and where you don't have? For example, in India, because it's a mixed economy, there are sectors which are open for startups, for starting your own business and doing a lot of things. But there are sectors which are still closed and run by the government. So those are areas which we are not so easily able to open and let everybody come in. So every country will follow different. China, for example, is socialism. So there everything is run by the government. There you cannot do whatever you want to. You have to go according to the government. US and all will come under capitalism. There industrialists or businessmen run the economy as such. So you will have different systems working in different manners, and that gives you the business environment and the flexibility of work, or the kind of work that you are doing, or the amount of profits that you are making. So all this will depend on the environment which is there because of these two kinds of differences. Okay, so after this we come to the basic propositions. So we come to the basic propositions of business environment. First will be, business is an economic activity. So if you go down here, this is very, very important, because at the end of the day, business is an economic activity. So as I told you that it is a means to an end. Okay, means to ends. So it is, how do you get things done? How are you managing with the resources or getting all the things done, is where we are talking about business as an economic activity. So your work is to find what are the resources that you have and how can you get the output which you require. So I want to have major control on the market. So for that, I need to produce so much whatever quantity of output. So I decide on what are the resources I'll require, how much of labor I'll require, how much of capital I'll require. Do I require 10 acres of land? What do I require to go into getting a certain output? So this whole process is an economic activity, because every step of the process we are marking in terms of money. Okay, so it is in terms of money that you are talking about how to use the resources. That's why we say that it is an economic activity. Non-economic activities are not considered under business. They might be part of just doing something. They are equally important. Like I told you that if you are washing utensils, it is a non-economic activity, but the help is washing it, it is an economic activity. So if you see, the work done is same. Okay, the work done is utensils being washed, but the payment part makes it a business or not. Okay, so that's a very important thing which we should remember, that whatever is accountable in terms of money is the only thing that we will take credit of. Now there are three things which we actually study under business as an economic activity. First is consumption. Okay, now what do you mean by consumption? Unless you have these are the forms of business activity. Okay, business or economic activity. So the first thing that we talk about is consumption. What do we mean? That unless you have consumers, you don't have a business. I want to produce things and I'm very good with producing something, but if nobody wants to buy it, then there is nothing called as a business. So first important thing is the consumption, where we talk about the demand element. Okay, the demand element is what people want to buy. So we have to think about consumption first when we talk about business as an economic activity. The second area that we talk about is production. Now, there are people who want to buy a table. So there have to be people who have produced this table, no? So I want to buy a table, but there's nobody selling a table. So it does not come into an economic activity, because I'm just standing there and looking for a table, but there is nobody producing it. So the second part or the second element of an economic activity is production. So this basically talks about the supply side. Means one person wants a table, one person is making the table and wanting to sell it. So the third important element is what binds your consumption and production together, and that is exchange. So this buyer, okay, this person, this buyer will meet this seller and he will exchange rupees, and this person will give him the table. So what happens is that you have come to an economic activity being done, or a business deal being done. So without all these three elements, you cannot have any kind of economic activity. So you need a buyer, you need a seller, and you need a place where exchange happens between the buyers and the sellers. So that is the general idea when we talk about business as an economic activity. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. So these are the three important terms which we deal with throughout the course. So remember that we cannot have one without the other. Thank you. It's nice to see a response, because it's difficult to ask you all to unmute. So even if I see the thumbs up, it is motivating for me to know that you all are able to understand what I'm teaching. Okay. So second point that we go to is business is a business firm is an economic unit. So this is the second thing that we talk about. That means it is an economic unit. Why do we call it as an economic unit? Because it converts inputs into outputs. Okay. So this is another second important thing that we are talking about, that it converts inputs into outputs. So you gather all the inputs like raw material, okay, labor, land, okay, then you get money, and you get everything, and you add all this together, machines, okay, so you just get everything together and then you produce the output. So I have used all this to make furniture. So that is what am I doing is I'm taking the raw materials, this is your wood and nails and whatever you require, and converting it into a constructive thing, that is furniture. Maybe here I take chairs. So I have managed to take all these inputs and convert it into outputs, and that is my production process which I am talking about. So we say it is an economic unit because it converts inputs into outputs. Okay. Now, when we talk about this, we also have to remember that any business firm will work with different objectives. So there are different objectives when these people are working to convert these inputs into outputs. So the first main the main objective is always profit maximization. Okay. What do they want to do? Any firm or any business is not working for charity. What it would like to do is it would like to earn profits, and it would like to maximize profits, not just earn simple profits. It would like to earn maximum profits. And if you see, maximization of profits is again a very interesting term, because when we generally understand, we think that, oh, if I sell so many units, I'll get so much amount of money. Not like that. Profit maximization is generally a curve which looks like this. Okay. And this is the point where you are getting the highest difference between the cost and the price. That is the point of profit maximization. So you are getting here also profits, you're getting here also profits, but you don't want to produce till here. You only want to produce till this quantity. So profit maximization is generally an objective of any firm which is there in the market. So this is the key goal of any firm. Now suppose you say that the firm decides on sales maximization. Then it will want to produce till this, or maybe little earlier, over somewhere over here. Why? Because it is covering this entire area of profits, and it is saying that, okay, I'm managing to sell maximum quantity. So I'm able to sell some OQ2, this Q2 quantity, because I'm getting money till this point. So I will keep on selling till the time I'm getting a profit. So if you just look at this diagram, you can understand that I'm producing a different quantity when I talk about profit maximization, and I'm producing a different quantity when I talk about sales maximization. So there is basically a difference when we talk about profit maximization and when we talk about sales maximization. Okay. So the primary objective of a firm is profit maximization. Okay, so I hope this is clear, because many times we just think that all the goals of the firm go together. They don't go together. When you start planning, it is important for you to understand what is what. You cannot just say, oh, my firm wants sales maximization also and profit maximization also. No, because the amount of output required for profit maximization will be very different from what is required for sales maximization. So the goal of any firm should be very, very clear on what it wants to do. So as we see over here, I will just come that we talk about the different factors of production which are required for any kind of production. The first factor of production is land. Without land, naturally, there cannot be any production. So the first primary thing is that you should have enough of land available. The second is you have a lot of land, but you don't have people to work, it will not work. So the second important portion of any kind of business is labor. The third is capital. Now, capital we see in terms of money and also in terms of machines. So you need money also and you need machines also. So if you want to run any plant or want to do into any production, you'll see that you require capital and you require machines to run that business. And the fourth is a very important thing, which many times we think is not important, but it is the organization or the entrepreneur. Okay? Now, what is the work of this entrepreneur? It is the work of the entrepreneur to get all these resources together in one place so that production can be done. So without an entrepreneur, normally you're not able to get the factors of production together. There is some land somewhere, there are some people who are unemployed, there is some money lying in the bank, but the work is to get all these things together. Only then are you able to bring about a productive process. So this is a very, very important thing, that entrepreneur is the person who will bring together all the different factors of production. Okay. Now we come to point 3. The point 3 is business decision making is an economic process. Okay, so business decision making is an economic process. What do we mean by this? See, whenever we start with economics, the whole reason for economics is the concept of scarcity. If everybody in the world can get what they want, there is no need for business, there is no need for economics. You just go wherever you want and you pick up whatever you want and you're very happy in life, but that does not happen. So what do we need to do is we need to study the concept of scarcity. Scarcity means we don't have enough resources to satisfy every single person's wants. So there are 4 things which we study under scarcity, and I would like you all to, as I said, write down these points, because in your in the notes, these things are mixed up and written. So if you understand how it is going, it will be easier for you to write better. So when we talk about scarcity, we say wants are unlimited. So what do we mean by that? That any human being on earth, till the time we are alive, we have wants. So it does not necessarily have to be a big want, like I want $10 million, or I want one huge bungalow near the sea, or I want one of the best cars in the world. Those are also wants. But along with that, I want to eat food, I want a chair, I want a table, I want a bottle of water, I want to eat a burger. These are also wants. So you'll see that till the time we are alive, our wants will be unlimited. Now, for this by itself is not a problem, but the problem arises that resources are scarce. So to satisfy these wants, your resources are also scarce. For every want of yours, you do not have enough money. So you generally are deciding that, okay, I have got maybe $5,000. With $5,000, what are the things which I can manage, or what are the things which I can do? So you cannot do everything in the world. So you'll be selecting or choosing what you feel is more important and doing it. So we say resources have alternative uses. So you can decide that, okay, currently if I'm in this particular class, I need a laptop and I need a Wi-Fi good connection. And if you are writing down the notes, you will say I need a copy and a pen. So currently the resources which you require for this particular class that you are attending is a laptop, a good Wi-Fi connection, a pencil, and a notebook. Okay, so you have a good car that is not of use to you currently, because you're sitting for a class and you're paying attention to this particular class. So at a particular point of time, the resources that we have will keep on changing. Means you will continuously have different kinds of resources which are required for different points of time. So resources have alternative uses. Each resource can be used in multiple manner. So the last thing comes is the problem of choice. And this is why we say that decision making is totally a problem of choice. So when we talk about decision making, we are actually talking about the problem of choice. Okay, so I have to decide things like what to produce, how to produce, what quantity to produce. Okay, so these are different things that I will need to decide on. So the complete decision making in a firm is a problem of choice. So what to produce means I have to decide whether I want to, if I've got wood, I've got enough of wood, then I have to decide whether I want to produce furniture, or I want to make paper, or even if I'm talking about furniture, what kind of furniture do I need to make? So I need to choose what to produce. Should I produce war goods? Should I produce peace goods with the resources which the country has? So you have to make complete decisions about what you need to do over a certain time period. How to produce. Now, how to produce basically talks about labor intensive methods and capital intensive methods. So labor intensive methods means many times what happens is we do not tend to use the country's resources. So in India, for example, with our population, we have a huge amount of labor available. So what we should be using is more labor intensive techniques, so that you can give employment to people, the living standards of people will become better, etc. So another country which does not have a huge population should rely more on capital intensive techniques. So you have more of automated machines which can ultimately do the work which is required. So what you're trying to do is decide on which method is better. Now, suppose I've decided over here what quantity to produce will come. Suppose I have decided I'll make chairs and I will make tables. So I need to decide how many chairs should I make and how many tables should I make. So that is where I come to the problem of what to produce. So all these things are what? They are all decision making. How do I spend my money? How do I use my resources so that I get the maximum benefit out of every single resource that I am using? So how do I do that so that my output is generated in the best possible manner? So this is what we are trying to decide over here. So the main thing is optimize the use of resources and get the best out of the given resources. So this is what I want to focus on, and this is what I want to do. That somehow I just want that if I've got 100 rupees with me and I can buy the world, I would definitely like to buy the world. But it's not possible. So I will see that what is best possible out of the 100 rupees that I earn, or $100 that you earn. What is the best that you can get out of it? That is the most important decision making we do, whether it is at the business firm's level or whether it is at a personal level. So this is always the most important question under economics, that we talk about decision making, and decision making is always about the problem of choice. So I hope this is the first part, the first topic. I hope everybody's clear on everything that I have completed. And if there are any questions you want me to answer, I can give 1 minute. You can just put it in the chat, or you can just ask me any question. Yes. Please tell me, Jafar. Yeah. Okay. Clear. Okay. So next we'll come to the nature and scope of business economics. Uh, yes.
Okay, ma.
Yes,
Sir,
Jafar.
the point you have just finished explaining, as is a
Yes.
future of business environment or as it the types, because you have made mention of business as economic activities. Then the second
Yes.
one, business is an economic unit. Then the third
Hmm.
one, business is a decision-making process or is an
Yes.
economic
Yes.
is an economic process.
Yes.
Then under the third items, you mentioned
Hmm.
scarcity, freedom of choice,
Yes.
optimize the use of. Are all these characteristics of business?
Yes, yes, sure. See, these are the propositions, means these are the basic characteristics without which a business cannot happen. So it has to be a decision making process. Okay, without being a decision making process, a business cannot run. So it has to take into consideration all the things that I have mentioned over here. Okay, I hope that makes it clear.
Yes, ma. I understand, ma. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So I'll go to the next thing. That is basically we'll talk about the nature and scope of business environment. Okay. So we come to the nature and scope of business environment. Now, first, I will talk about the nature. Now, many of these points I have already mentioned, but I will again put it here under nature so that you can understand it, or just it will be another revision of the terms which I've used. Some terms are new, but some of the things I have already mentioned in the beginning. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So, when we come to the nature of business, the first is that it is dynamic. Okay, I said it is static and dynamic, but we focus more on the business being dynamic because the moment we are talking about something being dynamic, we are saying that it is flexible. Okay, very important. Okay, all of you who want to work will always uh, yeah. Yes, I will clear your point also. Isaac, I'll come to your question also. Okay. So let me just finish this, then I'll come back to your question. So dynamic basically means flexible. Flexible is a very, very important thing because see, if you are going to work, now, if there is no flexibility in the work environment, you cannot grow. So for growth, it is very, very important that the atmosphere should be dynamic. Okay, so you'll find that new competitions will be entering, technology will be changing, and if you are not aware of these things and you're not constantly trying to be trying to upgrade yourself, you will find that you will lag behind and lose it. Now, let me just give you an example. Recently, when we had COVID, we the whole time period of COVID, you had so many organizations which were doing extremely well. Okay, and they were running for the last 50 years, 60 years. But what happened is they were not willing to change. So here what has happened, it's a totally dynamic thing which has happened, or a total change thing which has happened. Now if you want to continue in the same manner, you are losing out. And that's why what happened is some businesses which had been there for a very, very long period of time closed, whereas some businesses who managed to become dynamic, to bring about changes, think of new ways of doing things, were the ones who actually did very, very well. Let me give you a small example. For example, in art and craft, okay. Normally, I like to paint, so I am giving this example. So, during this time period, what happened was people were not going into the market and buying, paints and other things. So many of these companies, which are very well known in India, at least one or two of them, they started these online classes. So they gave you free class. Okay, so they give you free class that we are going to teach you this a kind of one unique different type of painting. But for the painting, you require one board, you require this particular color, you need this number brush, and around 10 requirements from their own company. And they said, we are not charging you any fees, but what you have to do is you take a picture of the things, the material, and post it. So if you have the material picture, then we will let you attend the class. So now to attend the class, what happened is so many of us went and bought so many of these products, art products online, because we wanted to learn that. And we thought, oh, the class is free. But we did not realize that we are paying so much for the material, and the company is able to earn so much by selling those materials, even when there was COVID and people were not able to go out. So that is what we talk about, a dynamic environment, that you are bringing about changes as per the requirement, what is happening outside. Okay, so that concept is the first one when we talk about dynamic and dynamic environment. The second we talk about is uncertainty. uh, Always where business is concerned, there is uncertainty. If you just relax on a chair and sit, oh, now everything is fine and I don't need to do anything, you're absolutely wrong, because your business will run into problems. So you have to be constantly aware of the fluctuations which are happening outside. Suddenly one competitor might arise, and before you know, he has taken a large scale of your business. So you cannot be sure that I don't need to worry. That never happens if you are talking about business environment. It is always full of fluctuations. It is always full of uncertainty. Third, we always say that a business environment is very, very complex. So as I told you, that we have macro and micro. Okay, so when we talk about micro environment, I think there's a question also on this, so I'll just come to it. When we talk about the macro environment, we are talking about everything which is around us: the government policies, the country in which we are staying, the people who are working, the culture of the country, the legal requirements of a country, all the monetary, fiscal policies, taxation policies, all this will come under macro environment. Okay, and if you see, the micro environment is what is happening within the firm. Okay, so within the firm also, there is an environment, there is a work environment. Means, how does the firm work, what are the main objectives it is working on? I come to the second question which is asked to me, that profit maximization. So do I want to maximize my profits, or do I want to maximize my sales? Sometimes people will work within this, means they will try to match up to profit maximization and sales maximization and compromise in the middle. But if you talk about theoretical concepts, you will find profit maximization is different from sales maximization, which I just explained over here. That, sorry, which I explained over here, that profit maximization requires this particular output, a higher output. So this is your basically revenue, and this is your cost. So the difference between revenue and cost, where it is maximum, there you are getting profit maximization. But sales maximization can happen over here, so you can sell more quantity if you want sales maximization. I hope that answers both the questions which were asked. Okay, now I come to the fourth point over here, which we talk about relativity. Relativity basically talks about the social norms and local conditions. Social norms and local conditions. Okay. Let me give you a very important example. A very famous international food chain, when it came to India, it was producing burgers and fries and all these kind of things. So when it came to India, they used to fry their all these French fries and burger patties and all that in pork oil. Okay, so they were following that principle all over the world. But Indians do not eat pork that much. Okay, many of our customs people will not be wanting to eat uh, pork. So when it initially came in, it had after some time there was a huge objection the moment they came to know that even the vegetarian things, like for example, French fries is a vegetarian thing. It is made of potatoes. So when you're frying it, they are using that particular oil. So there was a huge unrest against that company, even when it was very, very widely known worldwide. And especially vegetarian people were very agitated that you are giving us a vegetarian dish and you're frying it in pork oil. So ultimately, the company had to wrap up its business and go back. And again, after a long period of time, they came back. And when they came back, they were very, very particular. So they were very, very particular after a certain point of time. Just 1 second, yeah. So after a particular time, when they came back, what they did was they put a green dot. Now this green dot was for vegetarian. And give me 1 second, huh? Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, that's the background which is playing. So when we talk about this, so what happened? I'll just go back to the example. I'm really sorry. So when they came back, they had this green dot, okay, and the green dot specified that it was a vegetarian dish. So now they had to revamp their policy. They had to revamp their production, everything according to a country's social norms and local customs. So even though a business unit is very popular and well known all over the world, you'll find that it will not be successful if it is not able to tune itself to the social norms and cultures. So this is a very, very, very important point. I will come to two or three more cases where we will explain this. The next is interrelationship. What we mean by interrelationship is that one area will always be related to the other areas. There's nothing which is separate or individual. You'll find that always one area of environment will be related to all the different areas of the environment. So it doesn't function separately in one place as compared to the other. So any questions on this? Is this clear? So basically, when we talk about the nature of a business environment, firstly, we said it is dynamic, it is adaptable, it has to adjust to all the changes. Second, we say there is an element of uncertainty. You cannot be sure of what is happening. Third is it is complex because it has so many micro and macro elements which have to be considered. Then we have relativity. That means you have to be in tune with the local customs, social norms of the place in which you are functioning. And the last is interrelationship. Every unit will be related to all the other units which are around. Okay. Now I come to the scope. So next part is the scope of business environment. Under this, the first point we say is internal and external environment. So basically, scope is also what are the things that you actually study or want to know about when you are talking about business environment. That is generally the scope of business environment. So here we have two things. We will be talking about internal environment. Internal environment is the requirements of the factors of production. So what I talked about, that you need land, you need labor, you need capital, you need organization, you need all these things to come together, and then only you are going into the production process. So that is what we talk about internal factors. When we talk about external factors, now these factors can be controlled. Okay, if I don't want raw material, I will not buy it. If I don't want more amount of people to work for me, then I will naturally not employ more people. So I will decide on the requirements of my own firm, so I can control this. Okay, how much money do I plan to spend? What are the kind of machines do I want to buy? So all these factors I can decide on. There is these are not uncontrollable factors, means I can decide on all these things. But external environment is outside the, beyond the control of business. So here, this is not something that you can decide on. So if you talk about political, social, and economic, so all these economic policies, this is not what any firm can control. Now if the government decides that it wants to increase the taxation rate, can one firm do anything? It can't. So if the government says that instead of 15%, now you have to pay 20% tax, you have to pay. Okay, so this is not in your control. Similarly, due to certain things, there's an election, and because of an election, there is changing policies, changing environment. You can't do anything about it. You have to manage with that. Social environment, during festivals, there'll be different kind of requirements. During different seasons, the kind of things people want to wear or what they require can change. So you cannot control any of these factors. Only thing you can control is the internal environment. Okay, so internal environment, all these things you can control, but this is something which is not in the control of any business. So here what I have to do is I have to just manage. So this is called as givens. Givens means you just have to manage around them. So it is no point stressing over them, because at your end you cannot do anything much about it. You just have to manage with whatever is given to you. So in the country, wherever you are staying, you will have to manage with the environment, the kind of roads which are there, the maybe the climate and the weather. So if it is very hot over there, you have to manage with the hot weather. You can't say that no, I want rains today, so let it rain. That will not happen. So you have to manage with the environment which is there. Okay, so that is something which we cannot do anything about. Okay, the second thing which I've already discussed in details is the micro environment and the macro environment. So I'm just repeating here. So micro environment is basically the daily activities of a firm. So everyday running of the firm, whatever is required, you are meeting customers, you are arranging deals, you are talking to suppliers, you are talking to market intermediaries. Like for example, if you want farm produce, okay, you make jams you've got a unit where you make jams. Now the intermediaries are the people who will be buying the jam from the farmers, and buying the maybe strawberry jam if you make. So the intermediaries will go to these farms, buy the strawberries, get it, and they will sell it to you. So for everything we don't have intermediaries, but sometimes we use the intermediaries because it makes things very convenient for us. So that is the function of micro environment, where we talk about the daily functioning, whatever is happening within the firm is what we are going to talk about. Macro environment again is the same thing you can talk about, is the economic policies, economic policies, the technology, okay, then the politics which is happening, all those things will come under macro environment. As I said, you cannot control the macro elements which are happening in the firm, outside the firm. The third is controllable. See, you might feel that whatever I'm speaking, they're generally the same things. They are the same things, but the terminology that we are using is different. For example, we said internal and external environment. Then we said micro and macro environment. Now I'm saying controllable and uncontrollable factors, or controllable environment. Okay, so whatever is in your hands will be in controllable environment, where we talk about factors of production. And what is uncontrollable is outside your firm, which you cannot do anything about. So you have to just accept it, that there will be global factors, there will be national factors, all these factors which natural changes, like I said, that in India recently, I think in Bangalore, I stay in Bangalore, so I'll give you the example. There was so much of rainfall, and everything was flooded. So many companies, many IT companies lost a lot of money because people could not go to work for that particular day. So the Wi-Fi was down, nobody could travel, and there was acute water logging everywhere. So corporates or many companies actually lost a lot of money. But it was nobody's fault, because we cannot say that the weather has to be like this. So it is an uncontrollable factor. Fourth one is specific and general environment. So specific environment is basically when you talk about what is influencing your decisions. Okay, so something which is exactly related to your firm. For example, I say that the raw material, you have a cotton industry, and in the cotton industry, I'll answer your question. Just let me finish. So suppose in the cotton industry, now you say that the cotton has become expensive. So this is a specific factor, because you have to buy this cotton raw material. Naturally, cotton has become expensive, means your production cost will go up, your price of the product will go up. It will be difficult for you to get more raw material. So a lot of things will happen which will specifically impact your firm. General environment is, I say that industrial growth rate is high. So that means because you are also an industry and all the industries are doing well, there is a chance that your industry will also do well. So that is a general factor. Okay. Yes, there is a difference when we talk about internal and external environment, because we are talking about internal things which is within the firm. Now many of these things can be controllable, but it is possible that some things are not controllable. For example, if there is a person who's coming to work and tomorrow he decides he doesn't want to come to work, can you control it? That's not a controllable factor. Okay, that is an internal factor, that there is too much of absenteeism and many people are leaving the firm and going. This can be an internal factor, but is it a controllable factor? That is a question that we need to think on. That can we control it? Can we control people leaving the firm? Okay, what are the policies? Maybe if you make some specific policy changes, you can say, yes, I can control people leaving. But still, you'll find a lot of people who leave your firm and you can't do anything about it. So there can be a difference between internal and controllable factors. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay, now after this we come to is everybody clear till this point on nature and scope of business environment? Any other questions? I hope everybody is clear till the portion I've covered till now.
What's the difference between micro and micro, ma'am? I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay, no problem. See, micro, as I said, is whenever you talk about a small part, I'll just explain it in a simple thing. Uh, if you are studying a tree, okay, it is a micro concept. But if you're looking at a forest as a whole, then it is a macro concept. So if you study the individual tree, you will say that, oh, this is the height of the tree, it has 500 leaves, and it is dark brown in color, and it has got nice orange color flowers, or whatever. So you are giving the description of the one single tree. But if you look at the forest from top, you'll say, oh, the entire area looks green. Okay, if you fly over Amazon forest, you'll say that, oh, the entire area is green. You will not be able to see that single tree over there. You can't see that, say that that single tree has orange color flowers. So that's a basic difference. So when we look into a small unit, we look into one person, we look into one firm, then it is a micro concept. When we look into the entire forest, when we look into all the firms, then it becomes a macro thing. So if you are talking about one firm producing cotton clothes, then it is a micro concept. When you look into the entire industries which are producing cotton clothes in a country, then it is a macro concept. Is it clear?
Total clear, ma. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And the second question over here is emphasize on specific and general environment. Specific is what is related to only you. Okay, only one single firm. What is related to one single firm will be specific, and general is what is there for everybody. That is a general concept. So as I gave you the example, that if you're making cotton garments, and because of the weather, cotton production is not good. Okay, so there has been less amount of cotton production. It is directly impacting the raw material which your firm is going to get. So that is a specific factor. But I say there are elections in the country. Okay, so that elections may have an impact on me or not. That is a general environment. Okay, I hope that is clear, Jaffer. Okay, so I'll go on further. I'll come to the next topic. This is types of business environment, and I will be dealing with all of them in details over here. So we come to types of business environment. Here, when we divide this into internal and internal environment and external environment. So here now again in great details, I will talk about external environment. Okay. So when we talk about internal environment, always remember we are talking about the resources. Okay. So what do you have with you will come under the internal environment. So within the organization, whatever you have will be taken as your internal environment. But to study this, we will do this little differently. So we will talk first about the internal environment and what impact, or what are the sector that you're going to talk about for the firm. So the first is the values. Okay, so when we talk about the values, it talks about the mission and objectives. See, every firm functions under a certain has a certain value system. If you work with a particular firm, that firm might only be wanting to make money, but there might be another firm which might want to work with the objective of charity. There might be another firm which would like to survive for the next 1,000 years. So it will work with that kind of concept in mind. So there is a value system in every firm that we go to work. And from one to the other place, there is always a different in the value system. And this becomes very important. And this generally is decided by the board of directors. Okay. It's not employees. So when I am forming the firm only, I will decide what is the basic value which my firm is going to run on. Okay, like for example, UNICEF. UNICEF is not a money-making institution. It is working for charity. So the value system over there will be that how can we bring about betterment of children and provide water, and how to bring about health facilities. So all the programs will run around creating those kind of environments. So they are running with a certain value in their mind. Now, depending on the value, you will have the mission and objectives of the firm. Okay. So mission and objectives define the purpose for which the firm is there. Like suppose we say that I'll just give you two examples here. So the first example I gave you is of UNICEF. Now, when we talk about UNICEF as a firm, we will say that its mission is to provide better healthcare, better water, education to children. So the mission is to help maximum people in the world through their work. So the objectives of the firm will also be there. Do you think something like this will have an objective of profit maximization or sales maximization? It will not be there. It is a welfare motive on which we are running. But if you take any multinational corporation, what is the objective on which it will be running? It will be making profits, making money, becoming a global company, becoming a multinational company, having its units all over the world. So its objectives will be very different from, as I said, UNICEF. Now, third, I say that you are in your family, you run a family business. So your father has started a business. He thinks that, okay, let my sons also participate, and let my grandsons also run the business. Let their sons also run the business. So here, my objective is making money and doing well, but along with that, it is also the survival of the firm. I want my name and my firm to be there for next generation to next generation to next generation. So I want the firm to be there and existing for a very long period of time. So that is what I'm looking into when I talk about mission and objectives. So depending on the values only, we will talk about the mission and objectives of any particular firm. Then we come to the next one after this. This is organizational structure. So the organizational structure is basically the hierarchy that you have. So you have maybe the president of a company, then you have two vice presidents of the company. Then you might say that, okay, we will have four different departments. So I will have a general manager for finance, I will have a general manager for HR, I will have a general manager for marketing, I will have a general manager for sales. This will be in India, and this will be in Africa. So again, here I have four people. Under this four people, these five people will be there. So I'm creating a structure. So this is called as the organizational structure, which tells you about the hierarchy of people who are working in the organization. So who's the top person? How is the division taking place? That will be decided on the basis of organizational structure. So when we start with the concept only, we will talk about the hierarchy which is taking place, or the different kind of levels which are there in which an organization is functioning. Okay, this is also very important, because without knowing the hierarchy, many times we do not know who to go to if we have a problem. So many people will think that, okay, he's the vice president. Now here there are two general managers. Then after general managers, there are two managers, and under managers there are supervisors, and under supervisors is the worker. Now here he might think that, oh, I don't want to talk to all these people. I just directly want to go here. So this is not the procedure which will happen. He will have to go to his supervisor. This will go here, then this will go here, and then only this will go here. And then maybe the vice president might call this person to talk to him. So that's why it's important to know the structure of any organization which is there. And the structure helps people to understand how they can meet different people and how they can solve or resolve all their problems. Okay. Then we come to the next point. This is the culture. Now, here we are not talking about the culture which is there outside. We are talking about the culture which is there inside the organization. So every organization will have a culture. Some people, some organizations might be very strict and very rigid. For example, if you're supposed to come to work at 8 o'clock and you come at 8:01, you're marked late and your salary is deducted. There are many organizations in the world actually doing that. So you'll find that if you've logged in at 8:01 instead of 8 o'clock, they will say that for this day you will get only half salary. There might be other organizations which will say that, okay, you need to work 40 hours in a week, so you decide on your timings and you come accordingly. Some organizations will talk about wearing formal clothes. Some organizations will say that we are okay with whatever you wear. Some days you can work from home, some days you come to office. Others will say no, you have to report to office, otherwise working hours will not be accountable. So you'll find that there's a difference in the culture of every single organization. And this culture is what you need to understand when you go to work. More than anything else, their culture should match with your culture. Is if there's a conflict in the culture and working styles, you cannot work and be happy in the long run. So the happiness comes of work when your culture and the organizational culture actually match with each other. So this is a very, very important thing. The environment of work which you're getting. And this is the internal environment that we are talking about. Then we talk about the human resources. What kind of people are working in a particular organization? And you might say, ma'am, this is an odd kind of thing, because all kind of work people work in all organizations. But generally that is not a very correct statement, because different organizations will require different kind of people. Okay. And according to that, there will be different skills which are required, different qualities of individuals which are required, competencies will be different. So your requirement might be very, very different in one organization as compared to another organization. So human resources also plays a very important part in the internal resources of a person. Then we have physical resources. And financial capabilities. So when we talk about physical resources and financial capabilities, we are talking about the kind of machinery which is available. And leave alone machinery, I will just say that simply, if you talk about physical resources, you go to work and there is one table which 5 people are sharing. Do you think it's a good work environment? There is no fan, there is no natural light, and it is very dark. And will you feel like working in a place like that? You will not feel like working in a place like that. So you require physical resources. You need good infrastructure for work, and good infrastructure for work will come from financial capabilities. If the firm has resources, it will be able to give you a good environment for work. But if the firm does not have adequate resources, it will not be able to provide a good and healthy environment for work. So that is the main problem which happens whenever we talk about internal environments. Okay. Now I come to external environment. So when we talk about external environment, again we'll be dividing it into 2 sectors. That is your micro environment. Again, here we are dividing into micro environment and macro environment. Okay. So when we talk about micro environment, the first thing we talk about is suppliers of inputs. people who are giving you things for production, they are a very important part of any firm. If you do not have good tie-ups with suppliers, your business cannot run. Okay, so if you're not getting timely raw material, you're not getting people who are giving you honest good things. For example, I've ordered cotton, but I want to make the best quality clothes, and the person or the supplier I have is giving me very low grade cotton. How can I make best quality clothes? So naturally, I will be dependent on the suppliers to give me the best quality of everything. If I'm getting the best quality, naturally my output of production will be best quality. Okay. Second, under micro environment, very important, customers. You cannot have a business without good customers. So you need not only new customers, you need loyal customers, people who have been there and who want to remain with you. So they feel that no, now I just want to buy, if I want to drink tea, I want to only drink tea of this particular brand. So whenever I go to buy tea, I don't think and I don't want to look into new brands, because I am very fond of this particular brand of tea. So I will buy red label tea. So permanently I will only buy that. So that is a very important thing. So it is important to have customers who are loyal to your brand, but along with that, you also need to cater to new customers, because you cannot just survive with having that standard proportional size of customers. You want to have new customers joining into your company, so that your company can grow. Okay, so that is how your company grows, when you get new customers. But you should also give importance to the customers you have, and you should be able to maintain those customers who are there. The third is marketing intermediaries. What do you mean by marketing intermediaries? Yes, intermediaries. So marketing intermediaries are people who lie in between. So they help in selling and distribution of your product. Okay, so they help, like for example, you have produced a certain thing, but through the distributions, retail outlets, other outlets, so you are trying to sell your goods all over the India. Suppose you are in India, you want to sell it all over the world, you have these marketing intermediaries who will take your products and find areas where those things can be sold. So they can be sold on retail, they can be sold on individual piece basis. So those kind of people will be under marketing intermediaries. Then very important, you have competitors. So you'll find that any business will have a lot of competitors, and we should know how to manage these competitors. If we are not able to manage the competitors, we will never be able to do business well. If I am not able to get out my product before anybody else does, I will not be able to do well in my business. Then, of course, you have public. Now, what is the difference? See, it's not necessary that customers are also part of public. Marketing intermediaries are also part of public. Competitors are also part of public. But if you write public, it means all the people who are not your customers, are not your competitors, are not buying your product, they also fall here. So you are talking about media, different kinds of newspapers, news channels. You're talking about different groups. For example, you are making a recyclable product, but it is possible that the people who are there as environmentalists, you made a product, but the environmentalists come and say that no, this product can't run because it is not environment friendly, and we are going on protest. So what is happening? This is the public. Okay, or one particular company says that no, I don't think this product is good and it should not be sold. So there's an example here where we had Maggi, a very well-known brand of noodles, and very popular brand. There was a survey which was randomly conducted, as I said, by the public and others, and they found that there was a lot of lead inside it. So suddenly, this very popular product was banned by the government. because some people went and complained. And then they had to rework on the noodles that they were selling and repackage it and regain the customer base, because the public had a lot of objections. The media found some report on it and they objected, and it went quite high, and there were legal cases, and it all had to be revamped and it was reintroduced. It is still a very, very popular brand, but temporarily for that period it faced a lot of problems because from the public there were objections to the product. Okay, so these are the areas generally where we talk about micro environment. Now let's come to the macro environment, and I'll complete with this portion for today. So under macro environment, the first one that we are going to study is the economic environment. So what is the economic environment that we study? We talk about generally the monetary policy, agricultural reforms, industrial reforms, then investment, saving patterns, national income. All these things is the macro environment. Now, if the macro environment of the country is not very conducive to industrial development, what will happen? Your industry will face a lot of problems. Okay, so economic environment becomes very, very important. For example, money supply in a country. Now, you require a lot of funds to do your business, but the money supply in the country is less. They're not encouraging you to take loans. They're not encouraging you to start new ventures. What will you do? You will not be able to do it. So the economic environment of a country is very, very important. The second we come to is political, legal environment. Now, a very good example of this is, like, for example, one political party, suppose I say a political party is encouraging you to establish units in backward areas or rural areas. Okay, and it says that we will give you free electricity, we will give you free transport, we will give you easy loans, etc. Now, this person has promised all this. What happens is there's an election and this person loses the election. Now you have trusted this person and gone ahead and invested and started building your firm and started production, thinking that you are going to get infrastructure facilities, you are going to get electricity, free water, and you're going to get new easy loans. Now B person says, and he says, no, this is not a good policy. I do not want to give you free electricity. I don't want to give you free water. You will have to pay for it. What happens to you as a firm? It's going to be very difficult for you, naturally, because when you had planned for the firm, you said that, okay, this is very nice because I'm getting free water, free electricity, so many good things. But here, now I'm not getting it. So there's a problem over here where you will find that the person will be in a problem, the industrialist will be in a problem because the political, legal environment is not conducive for work. Okay, so that's why this becomes a very important sector. The third important sector that we talk about under macro environment is technological environment. Now, I think all of you will agree that currently the main question is that will AI take over our jobs? How many of you say yes and how many of you say no? Can I just get a response in the chat box? Just write yes and no. I just wanted to see how much of you think, how many people think that yes, AI will take our jobs away. Yes and no. You have to decide on one. Yeah. Others, can I just get a response so that I just see? Okay. There are some 50 people here. I want more responses coming in. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. So if you see, currently I'm finding a lot of yes responses coming, and majority of people are saying yes, it will take away your jobs, and that is the general mindset currently, that if we talk about AI programming and you know everything you write, if you have to I should not say this as a teacher, but I'll say that if you have to submit an assignment, people will type a question and just copy paste it. So many times it is happening, and we as teachers in 1 second know that it is written by chat gpt. We have our techniques, but easily, it takes us seconds to find out whether it has been written by chat gpt or not. So yeah, this is a very interesting answer which I've got, that two people have written that yes, but controlled or programmed by humans. Similarly, another person has written not in all sectors. Correct. So if you come back to the example, you'll see that when we had just started with computers, and I remember that era, we had just started with computers in India, and everybody, in fact, there were a lot of protests happening that we will not let computers come into the picture because it will take away all the jobs. Now, today's date, if you are sitting there and I'm sitting here, it is only because of computers. And if you see the number of people who have got jobs because of computers is immense. You cannot imagine a world today where a computer is not there. Okay, so it is always when a new technology is introduced and we initially do not know what to do with it, it creates chaos. But that is the role, can it take over human beings? Yeah, there's again one very interesting answer. There was a bank who had three tellers, which is reduced to one teller because ATM machine, online banking, deposit ATM, and all this. So if you see, it might impact your jobs in the short run, but ultimately, just wait for some more time. You will see that human beings cannot actually be replaced. So, however much we can get clones and typical people and do technological advancement, it's not possible. We are God's made creation, and no human being can actually create that. There will always be an element. See, when we study economics, or nowadays we study economics and psychology also together, we say that human beings are so unique and unpredictable, whereas any AI tool is 100% predictable, and that makes all the difference. Okay, so we will have things, and why I'm talking about this is technology is always changing, always changing. How fast are you able to upgrade yourself to the technology makes a world of difference. So it is sometimes very very difficult to keep in line with all the new technology which is coming up. You're finding shortcuts, you're finding easier ways to be there, but you just see after a certain point of time, in a short while you realize that the value of what you're writing through a chat gpt will not be there, because anybody who's typing in is getting the same response. Even if you are putting it in another tool and getting little different, it is still the same. But when you're writing 4 lines on your own, it will always be different. So whether you talk about different areas, you'll find after a certain point of time, you will come back to different technologies. Okay, you will try to bring something different. Okay, so this is a very very important thing, technological environment which is there. Let me give you one last example here, and there's little bit portion more which we'll complete today, and then I'll finish with the class. So I just wanted to give you one more example of AI. Now what happens in Facebook, if you are looking for a house, okay, uh, it will keep giving you houses. Okay, that doesn't mean that it is reaching out to you. It is reaching out to you till the time you're buying your house. But even after you finish buying the house, it will not say start showing you the interior decorators or showing you things that you can buy for the house. No, it will keep showing you people who are selling a house. So it's not able to read the mind and do what is different. Whereas if you go to a person and talk to him that, oh, I purchased the house, he will immediately understand, okay, now this person has purchased the house. So he will be looking into interior decorators. He will be looking into products which are required for the house. So I'm just giving you a very simple example. So technological environment becomes very important. And last we come to, the next point we come to is the global or international environment. Okay, so global or international environment. So when we talk about global or international environment, we are talking about whatever is happening all over the world. Okay, so that will be your global or international environment. The next is that we talk about the social, cultural environment. As I said, that many companies lose out on markets because they do not give importance to the culture of a country. So every kind of clothing does not work in different countries. Every kind of food does not work in different countries. How you are projecting or trying to sell a particular thing also is different for different countries. So social, cultural environment, religion, ethical issues, lifestyle, all these will make a difference when we are talking about one culture to another. Then, very interesting, we come to demographic environment. What is demographic environment? Demographic environment is basically life expectancy. For example, in India, we say we have an inverted pyramid. Means we have a pyramid like this. So we've got a lot of people who are young. Okay, and we've got lesser amount of aged population. So that's why we say that we've got a lot of workforce. Whereas many countries are there who have this kind of pyramid. So they've got more people who are aged, and the workforce population is decreasing, and the young population is generally not there. So in those countries, they're generally paying people to have children. So you'll find demographic environment becomes very important. Now, in a country which is like this, what do you do to get work done? You need clones, you need more of technology, you need more of automated machines because you don't have people. But if your country is like this, you have a very throbbing and interesting workforce which can do a lot of work. So that is the basic difference between countries when we talk about demographic environments. The health conditions, life expectancy, all these things will come under demographic environment. And the last is natural environment. Now, natural environment also is very important because suppose you are in a place where it is very cold and snowing and you're not able to travel only. How much of industrialization can take place over there? But some countries you find because the climate is such that people can work longer hours and traveling is not a problem. You will find that it is congested, but there is a lot of work environment which is present. Okay, so the climatic conditions also cater to the requirements of work environment. So if the climatic conditions are good, you'll find that the work environment also will be conducive and you will be able to work better with the firm. So basically, these are all the points which were there in the internal and external environment. I hope this is clear to everybody. Can I get a thumbs up from people who are there? So we just have another 5-7 minutes. I'll just thank you so much. It's so nice to see the responses and see that you are all able to understand what I'm teaching. So the last thing that I want to do today is I'll just talk very briefly, and in the next class I'll start with macro, which will have more diagrams and more important things. But I thought I will spend a little bit more time here because if you are not able to understand the initial structure, then you will not it is difficult to understand the different flows and how macroeconomics is working. Okay, so the basic importance over here we say is you can make the first mover advantage. Now, what is a mover advantage? If you study the environment and you can introduce one thing first into the market, naturally you can capture the market much more easily. Similarly, if there are threats in the market or something different is happening, if you're a little aware of it, you'll find that you are able to do a better job. Then you can adjust better to the changes which are taking outside, if you are aware of the business environment which is present over there. And you can also plan better, your policy making will be better, and everything will work out better if you are in that planning stage. And last is your performance can also improve with time. Now, this is the last thing for today, and I'll stop with this, is when we talk about environmental analysis, we do something which is called as a SWOT analysis. So when we talk about SWOT analysis, what we are doing is we are taking 4 sectors over here. The first is the strengths. What are the positives that you are seeing in the environment? And second is, what are the weaknesses or the problems that you are seeing in the environment which you are? So what you can do is, when you talk about your own country, you should look into, suppose whichever place you are staying, you can do actually a SWOT analysis. It will tell you how your business is going to work well if you ever plan to start one. So if you just look around your place and say, oh, these are the important things which will help me grow, and these are the problems which will which are stopping me or blocking me. Third is threats. Threats are, what are the problems which can come? Weaknesses are, maybe I can say, oh, I don't have enough qualified people, or I don't have enough of money. So those kind of problems can be the weaknesses. Threats are that already 10 people are there, they are already doing well. So if I just start my business in that area, it might be possible that I'm not able to do that well. So that's a threat. And last is opportunities. Opportunities are to see in future what are the new things which you can do, or what are the new things which can help you grow better. So those are taken as the opportunities. So this is how we conduct an environmental analysis. So first we will find out the strengths, weaknesses, threats and opportunities which are there in the environment. Then what we'll try to do is, we'll see what are the internal factors positive, what are the external factors which are positive, how can we make our internal factors stronger, means if we are taking good people, how do we make them stay in the organization and not leave the organization. What are the external factors which we can work around? For example, if I come to know there is some industrial policy which can help my firm better, so I should try to make use of it. If there is a banking policy which can give me better loans, I should make use of it. So I will try to look around and find what works best for me. Then only I'll be able to do my business well. Okay, so that is all the area that I want to cover today. So I'm open for questions on whatever we have finished. We've got some 5-7 minutes more. So any questions people have, I will answer to the questions. I hope everybody was clear with whatever I have taught today. I think it should be clear. Thank you so much for that heart. Yeah. Okay. So any questions? Another 5 minutes, we can deal with the different questions, and then I'll continue into answers. Yeah. So any questions? Anybody has any points they want to discuss? Difference between global, international and natural environment. See, when we talk about global environment, we are talking about the world as a whole. Okay, so we say, oh, globally this product is very popular. for example, I can say that during COVID, all the countries were facing similar problems. So that was a global environment. International is when we talk about when we compare India with the US or UK or Africa or America or any other place, then it is what we are talking about as international environment. And natural environment is the climatic conditions that you have in the means the forest. For example, if you take different areas, every area you cannot have industries. For example, if somebody is wanting to build an industry in Antarctica, that will definitely not be a very feasible option, because it will you not get resources only over there. So climate makes a very big difference. So those are the natural environments which we talk about. Is the natural Many countries, like for example, I know in your country also it's very very hot. So many times it might be possible that even if you want to work, you're drained out and you can't work. Same is the case with India. Many parts of India go to a temperature of 50, 55. So it's just not possible for people to work. So we might want to close down because of that. So those kind of problems will come. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? Another 1-2 minutes and we'll stop the class for today.
Yeah, I just have a question.
Yes.
I think it's in addition to what my colleague asked, Jaffa.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
responded. So I just wanted to find out if an example of what is happening to Russia and
Okay.
Ukraine war, which
Yeah.
affected a lot of countries in terms of food, fuel, gas, and the like. Would that be a very good example of
Yes, it will be
growth
international
international?
environment. Yes, definitely international environment, because see, the war is happening over there now. You'll find that some countries will not be supporting Russia, but they will not come out and say, because the political environment and internal environments will be impacted by that. Okay, because many countries will take support from Ukraine, many countries will take support from Russia. So this will come in international environment, and it is having a major impact on many countries. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. External environmental factors are uncontrollable, and therefore firms should try to adjust in order to minimize. Correct. So we should always try to minimize negative outcomes. So you have to be very sensitive. See, you cannot just say, oh, this is a good scheme, let me go ahead and just do this. You have to sit down and do the SWOT analysis and find out whether actually in the long run it is going to help you or not. If it's not going to, then it doesn't make any sense in trying to take up those schemes or do that. So you have to be very sensitive when you are talking about external environment. Okay. So I think I will close with that, and you all can read up and also tell me that if there's any other further changes, further things you would like to ask me in tomorrow's class. Okay. So have a good day, and I will see you all tomorrow.
Good day to you as well, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma.